that's ISO.
Rack it up, I gotta build up the bank to make me a safe house. Shake it up, she got her hands on her knees and she bringing the cake out. Smoke it up, I got some gas, some packs, I'm up in the greenhouse. Ball it up, I'm with the gang, we taking shots off the reef.
For the first time in, what is it, like 10 days, 11 days? We are back in the country, and I can say, welcome back to the Keeping It Real podcast, featuring me, Mateo Lucio, and my mother, Julia Lucio.
Hey guys, nice seeing you again. It's been a busy 2 weeks. We've been in Panama.
Sadly, we were not able to do a live show while we were there.
No, the internet was too wonky, unfortunately.
We also didn't see any movies there, so although we were going to, we were really thinking about it.
Yeah, but it was a nice R&R, and we're back. So
we're back. We've seen a few 2024 movies, a few movies not from 2024. We have a decent amount to talk about today, and I'm excited. But before we start on any of that, I want to ask, how was your week?
I had a great week. It was a lot of catching up because, being back from vacation, it's I had to come back and then do the Seeker right away. And then, of course, we had to send it to print. And then there's a big thing happening also in the month of March that we launched. It's the nominations for the Seeker's Choice Awards, which is not a movie award show, but it's
you can go vote now.
Yeah, no,
right? It's not public yet.
Nomination. It's public for nominations.
Yeah,
so the way it works, the first month is nominations, and then we'll narrow it down to the 10 most nominated businesses and people in each category, and then in April we get to vote. So yeah, exciting.
I'm not encouraging anyone. I'm just saying you are allowed to nominate me.
No, you're no, for contributors it's different. Like contributors are automatically nominated. There's no nomination because it is contributors. So we're
all the contributors are going to be able to be.
Yes, they're all in the list.
But so the nomination,
you can encourage people to vote in April for you.
Yeah, you guys are going to have to wait. I'll remind you again. So the nominations right now are best new local business and stuff like that, right?
So yeah, there's 10 categories. If you go on theseeker.ca, you'll see the banner. Just click on the banner. It'll take you to the area where it explains everything about the Seeker's Choice Awards and invites you to nominate your favorite businesses and people.
I have some businesses I think I'm going to nominate. One is Bud's Records. I'll say that right now.
Who celebrated their 5th anniversary.
I was about to say, was it yesterday or today?
Yesterday.
And I was sad because I'm not in Cornwall right now, and it would have been cool to be there. But congratulations to Bud's Records on 5 years. That's one of my favorite stores in Cornwall because
absolutely.
I
was busy today.
I collect records. You can see some in the back too. I didn't need to pull this one out.
Yeah, it was a busy day yesterday for me. Another business in Cornwall that just celebrated their reopening is Echo Trends.
Oh, you went?
I went and I covered it, and then I mean, I've been pretty active yesterday. There was a lot going on in town for a rainy Saturday. There was a lot going on.
Yeah. Well, for me, the vacation we went on was actually my reading week, and typically in universities after reading week, you have a lot of exams and projects and stuff. So I had an exam on Tuesday and I had a project due on Wednesday that I accidentally submitted a day late.
Ooh.
But yeah, it's been a busy week for me too, for academic reasons, but we're back. We've been seeing some movies again and we're very excited. I do want to say right now, before we get into the discussion, all the talk in film bro circles right now is about Dune Part 2, which is apparently another one of those modern classics that's going to change cinema. We haven't seen it yet. I haven't even seen the first one. Have you watched in the past week?
No, I did not have a chance to watch it. It's on my list. I'm thinking maybe today or tomorrow.
Yeah. Do you know what it's available on?
No, I don't. Like I have no clue. I'll have to look around.
But Dune Part 2, I don't know if it's getting the same love on IMDb, but it has a 4.6 on Letterboxd, which is like one
That's
of the
good.
best movies ever. 9 out of 10 on IMDb, 94 on
Oh,
Rotten Tomatoes.
okay, but I'm just gonna reiterate the word of caution I had given you before. Letterbox has it very high. However, Stop Motion, a movie I saw yesterday, has a high ranking on Letterbox.
That's not like, it's a completely different thing though. What did you say the ranking was?
I think it was 3.5 or something, 3.2.
That indicates like a good movie where there's some discretion on if it's like good or mediocre or what. 4.6 is like one of the greatest movies of all time. If I Letterbox top 250. Let me say some movies that have a lower grade than 4.6. The Godfather's a 4.6 for reference. Goodfellas is a 4.5.
Mm.
What else do we have? The original 12 Angry Men is a 4.6. 4.6 is like the highest that it gets to. My favorite movie ever, Whiplash, is a 4.4. And I could go on. I could pick any amazing movie here. I'm actually kind of looking. A lot of these are more obscure. The Thing, 4.4. I could go on. I could pick any movie. Silence of the Lambs, 4.3. 4.6 is like, there's not, I don't think a movie like that the public can get wrong if they're ranking it that highly. I think it's probably going to live up to the hype.
Perhaps. But anyways, the list of movies we're going to touch on today is Madam Web, One Love, Players, Stop Motion. And then I want to talk about a couple of little horror movies that I've seen over the weekend with the kids that actually really impressed me. It's a series, so it's Orphan and then Orphan First Kill. We'll touch on those. But I'll let you start with Madam Web.
Yeah, I'm going to mute myself 1 second there because I have to sneeze. Oh my.
Bless you, even if I didn't hear it.
Thank you. So Madam Web, if you guys are not familiar, the situation with Madam Web is, so the Spider-Man, the IP for Spider-Man was owned by Sony for a long time. I also want to clarify right now, I don't know if you said it, but you haven't seen it, and there's some movies you're going to talk about that I haven't seen today. So Madam Web, so as I was saying, Spider-Man, that IP was owned by Sony for a long time. Marvel Studios Pictures, I don't know the name of the Marvel studio, but they acquired the rights to Spider-Man again. But some of the obscure characters from Spider-Man are still owned by Sony. So Madam Web is a lesser known character in Spider-Man. I didn't even really know who this was before I saw the movie, and I'm a pretty big like comic fan. Kraven is another movie that's going to come out by Sony, which is just another Spider-Man villain. And Madam Web has a 1.6 on Letterboxd right now. And just about everyone is in agreement that Sony needs to just stop making Marvel movies. This movie was so bad. Unlike Night Swim, which we talked about, I think the last week before we were on vacation, this movie deserves all the shit that it's gotten. It's so bad. It starts with this flashback scene in like the 1970s in the jungle, and I was baffled right away just by how bad the acting was, and like the shots were really weird. I was like, okay, like 5 minutes into the movie, I knew that the public consensus on this movie was right. It was so weird, and nothing about it made sense. It, to me, and I said this to the person I was watching the movie with, it felt like if a superhero movie was made by a 12-year-old who has all these cool ideas, and the ideas were really cool. The gist of Madam Web is like she can see in the future and stuff, and be in multiple places at the same time, and cool,
which
stuff
is a
like
cool
that.
concept in principle.
But like I said, it feels like it was made by a 12-year-old who doesn't understand how to make that work without a bunch of plot holes. Just thinks of, oh, this cool concept, and then doesn't think about how it's complicated and how you have to make that work. There's so many things in this movie that don't make sense. I want to take one random thing as an example. This isn't super important to the plot. At some point in the movie, she steals a taxi. The main character steals a taxi, and so first of all, the cab would have been reported stolen right away. And then she like takes the license plate off and she gets in a crash, so the front is all messed up. And through the entire movie, she's driving that taxi around the streets of New York City. Like she wouldn't get stopped by a police officer for having this completely beat up taxi with no license plates that's probably been reported stolen. It doesn't make sense. Nothing about this movie makes sense. Later on, she steals an ambulance. Sorry to give away some of the plot. Don't see this movie. I don't care if I'm spoiling it. You shouldn't see this movie. Later on, she steals an ambulance and like she uses the dispatch to call for help. They would know that you're saying that from a stolen ambulance. Nothing in this movie makes sense, and I can't stress it enough. The acting is bad. The villain is so bland, but also I don't even know where to begin. There's so much to talk about with this movie. None of the characters are really compelling. Towards the end, they kind of hinted towards the fact that there was going to be like sequels and shit, and I'm not
Oh,
excited for that at all.
no, please, no.
You're saying that and you haven't even seen the movie. I guess I'm making a convincing case.
Yes,
But
you are.
like this movie's so off-putting to me. Usually I'm good at expressing my thoughts, but there's so much here to unpack that I don't know where to begin. The setting isn't super compelling. The plot isn't super compelling. There are some funny dialogue moments. This terrible movie is called Madam Web, Old School Dave. You might have heard about it. It's like being universally crapped on by everybody everywhere because it's terrible. And overall, as a closing statement, Marvel has really gone to crap recently, especially Sony made Marvel films. I just want them to stop. I was slightly excited for Craven because that's a really cool character. I'm not excited for that movie at all anymore. This movie has a 1.6 on Letterboxd, and it probably deserves lower than that. And that's my
Okay.
rant. That's my rant.
Well, I'll follow up with a rant as well then. Thank you for your
Okay.
rant.
Yep.
Oh, I'm delayed now. What the hell? So I feel about the same way about the movie I saw, which is a little movie that's not been it's not been publicized much, and like I didn't even know it was coming up. I just I was looking for a movie to go see, and
It's a
I looked
2024
here.
movie?
Yes, and I looked in Cornwall. There was nothing of interest. So then I looked in Messina, and I saw this thing, and it said stop motion. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna investigate it. I went to see the preview, and it looked all right. And looked at the letterbox, and it had a 3.2. So I'm like, okay, that's should be not bad. Anyways, oh my god, where do I begin? Like, probably the most boring horror movie I've ever seen. And I don't get it. You go on Letterboxd and you look at the reviews, everybody is fucking ranting and raving about it. Like, I like, how everybody was like bashing Night Swim, and we're like, okay, well, I don't know, that's not warranted. Well, that's the same thing but opposite with this stop motion. Like, everybody's raving about it, and I'm like, what the fuck, am I in the same world? This thing is just so slow, so boring. The acting is pitiful. The story makes absolutely no sense. This is kind of like a story that tries too hard to be different and unique. I'll give it the cool visuals. It's got some cool little scary visuals because it has to do with stop motion dolls, and they can be creepy. But there's this whole thing about this woman who's like, she's been, and I don't give a shit, like you did. I don't give a shit. I'll do spoilers here all day. So there's this woman, she's being bullied by her mom, who's crippled with arthritis, who was a stop motion person, a filmmaker, and she can't continue her film because she's got crippling arthritis. So this girl, her daughter, is doing the stop motion for her, and then the mother is bullying her, and she's so mean. And then she gets into, I don't know, she has an accident and or a heart attack. I don't even know, but she ends up in the hospital. The mother, that is, ends up in the hospital, and the daughter just takes all the stuff and in the hopes of finishing her mom's story. But then this mysterious little girl shows up, like in an apartment, like, because she goes in an apartment and brings all the stuff there to try to finalize the stop motion, whatever. I don't even know why she would move the stuff. It makes no sense. She had a perfectly good set where her mother was. Anyways, this little girl, like weird little girl, comes up and she starts giving suggestions to this grown-ass woman, and the grown-ass woman just scraps the whole project and starts a new project on what the little girl says. And the little girl is a bully, just like her mom was. Like, and she gets bullied by this little girl into making this movie that makes absolutely no sense. Anyways, so I gave it a half a star, and that's generous.
I saw that.
Just for the visuals, that creepy little doll that makes little noises that are kind of creepy and eerie is like the only thing that this movie's got going for it.
So if I read you some reviews, I want to find like a short one. A lot of these are like a bunch of words. I want to read some short reviews and tell me if you agree with them. Okay, here's a 3-star one. How many of these adjectives do you think describe this movie adequately? Creepy, cryptic, dark, grisly, nonsensical, short, slow burning.
Oh, nonsensical, absolutely.
Trippy, unsatisfying, well-crafted, wince-inducing.
Unsatisfying.
Okay, what else do you have here? Okay, maybe honestly, the premise sounds a little interesting to me.
It did to me too. That's why I went to see
I'm a big fan of experimental horror with a good cinematography. And you said the visuals look good. I'm excited. I think I'm gonna watch it.
No, but that's all it's got.
This review says, "Is the movie for everyone? No. Was it for me? Absolutely. I think it's gonna be another Skinamarink type thing.
No.
Based on what I'm not talking about like how the movie is. I'm talking about the reception of it.
No, well, maybe Skinamarink was like super experimental and but it was valid. Like it had like a story around it. Like it. What?
This review. Effing disgusting. Absolutely putrid. Of course, the director is British. As a people, they're rather quite gross. Whoever did the sound for this needs an award for skill. And okay, I'm not reading the rest of that. But it's a 4-star review. So
yeah, it's just like
this,
I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Like I like experimental horror. I just don't like a movie that the whole time you're sitting there, you're thinking, okay, they're really trying too hard. Like, they're really trying too hard to be different. Like, it's just,
were there any actors?
Simple, stupid.
Were there any like notable actresses?
Oh, the little burly girl is quite something.
I meant, is there like any actors you know?
No. I like the stop motion dolls. That's
the
stop motion dolls performance. I have no clue.
Wait, what is the box office? 500,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
okay. We could go into the 2 movies that we've both seen.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to start this by saying that still, 2024 has not given me the fucking masterpiece that I need to see. Like, I have not been floored by any movie this year.
Forget a masterpiece. I haven't seen a great movie yet. Good Grief was close. I haven't seen an 8 out of 10 movie yet. Good Grief
No,
was a 7.
that's true. Like, I'm like, this year
And
has been
we're like
shitty so far.
we're like what, 10, 11, 12 movies in?
Yeah. And I was hopeful. I was really hopeful with One Love.
And is that what we're going to talk about next?
Yep.
So Bob Marley, One Love. Another reason I was hopeful is because it was produced by A24, which is like my favorite studio right now. They're doing cool, unique things. But One Love was just so whatever. I feel kind of the same way about it as I feel about Napoleon, which is that
It could have been so much more.
not even that, like, obviously, yeah, any movie could have been so much more than it was, I think, unless the premise
This
of
year,
it
anyway.
is like unless the premise of it is like fundamentally flawed. I think any movie can be great, but what I mean more so here is that it's a movie about a really, really interesting historical figure that doesn't really go into who they were as a person. Like with Napoleon, One Love just feels like this happened, then this happened, then this happened. And I don't really get a greater understanding of who Bob Marley was.
Right. It is focused on things that happened to Bob Marley as opposed to how Bob Marley happened to the world.
What are some examples of a biopic that doesn't do that? That does a good job at going into depth about the person. You might say Maestro. I would disagree with that.
I would say Maestro. Maestro did a good
I'm
job
just
at that. I
looking up
find.
best biopics.
Like I
This
off the top of my head, I can't think of anything. Maybe our viewers are thinking of a biopic that
there's an
does good.
obvious one. There's a really obvious one. 2023 movie.
Huh?
2023 movie.
I'm thinking.
One of the best movies of last year.
Oh, Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer.
Yes.
Oppenheimer does an amazing job at showing who Oppenheimer was as a person. And I want to say there's quite a few
And
other ones.
Einstein. It even showed
yeah.
Einstein
Yeah.
how he was as a person. Yeah.
There are a few other ones just from last year too that I think are good biopics. Killers of the Flower Moon. I wasn't as high on it as a lot of people, but I think it was still really good. The Iron Claw. These aren't like
Oh,
the people in
yes.
the Iron Claw aren't like high profile historical figures, but it
No,
does do
but
a great job at.
but I think it's guilty of doing more of what happened to them than how they happened or who they were. Like
For some of
it's
the characters, I agree, but I think the main character, Zac Efron, the character he plays, I think they do a good job at least going into him
a
and his
little bit of
relationship with
him.
his dad and his brothers.
Right.
But so back to Bob Marley, One Love. I rated it a 5. I see you rated it a 7.
3.5.
Yeah. I'm doing on like a scale of
Wow,
of
you
10.
you did like 2.5, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It just and I think Napoleon I gave like a 2. But it suffers from so much of the same things. It's just that with a Bob Marley movie, as someone who loves music as much as I do, a lot of it got carried by me being able to see like the creative process that goes into making music. If I were to take one thing away from the movie that was good, it would be that, as well as the soundtrack, because they just got to use Bob Marley songs. But like, it's just
True.
whatever.
So the reason I gave it a higher ranking than some of the movies I've seen in 2024 is 100% the actor, the main actor, Kingsley Ben-Adir,
It just
was
throws me off that he doesn't look like Bob Marley at all. He looks too
too pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does look too pretty, but he did a really good job at acting the part, and so
I
did
agree.
his wife.
I agree.
So his wife was, who was playing his wife? I think it's Lashana Lynch. Really good actress.
This is another separating thing that would make this movie marginally better from Napoleon to me, which is crazy to say. I think this actor does a far better job in the lead role than Joaquin Phoenix did as Napoleon, which is
Yeah.
crazy. I don't know if he didn't get surrounded with the right script or what, but
Yeah, it was
yeah,
like, it was kind of,
strong lead performance here for sure. I
yeah,
just think here the writing is what's really lacking.
I agree. I agree. And the focus was on the wrong piece, I find.
What could have made the movie better, do you think? Like going into
Again,
specifics,
like,
not just saying like better writing.
no, I'm saying it should have focused inwardly as to who Bob Marley was and where he came from, as opposed to starting right in the middle of his life where he almost got shot. Like we learned very little. Like there's little droplets here and there of where he came from and why, but there's no
You know a
big
good example of that?
explanation. What? Yeah,
After
the father.
after the movie, you said, did it kind of imply that his father was white? And it
Hmm.
outwardly said that. But it's so like it so didn't go into any of that, any of his childhood, that you just didn't even pick up on that fact.
Well, no, because at the end the father is black.
That's I don't know, man. This movie's just a little weird.
At the end, the father is black. So I guess he represented what he wanted his father to be,
I
or
don't know. Maybe the
I don't know.
director was
It's
smoking
just
that
like
good Bob Marley ganja.
maybe he was.
Maybe this would be a 5-star if you go watch it high. Maybe that's the intended
Well,
way to
and
watch it.
it's funny because Josh Josh wanted to
He
go
was
and
he wanted
smoke.
to be
He
he
wanted
wanted to be
to,
high
but
so
we were
bad.
late. We
We
were
were
late.
late.
So I'm like, no, I'm not waiting. I'm not doing this. Like, no, I'm not waiting for you. You're going to walk there.
Yeah.
And I have to wait for you. So I kind of ruined it for him, I guess. But oh, well.
Yeah. So just add it to the list of mediocre 2024 movies, I guess. And I do want to address someone in chat, Ronald McDonald, I think, said that
The
films fell
Doors.
off since COVID.
Yeah. I answered no.
I
2023
I
was
don't
great.
yeah, I don't think I agree with that. 2022 was pretty good as well. I think the bigger issue is like take a look at blockbusters from the past. Jaws, Star Wars. If you look at horror blockbusters, it's Halloween. I think it might be a retrospective thing where you say, "Oh, let's look at some of the movies from 1970." You think of the great movies, but a lot of the movies that get attention now are bad movies. So it makes you think that movies have gotten worse when I think in reality it's just that because we're living in the present, we have to take in the good and the bad. And there
Mhm.
is a lot of bad from big studios. I agree with that. But if you look in the right places, cinema's still as alive as ever.
But I mean,
Well, maybe not in 2024.
well, and that's the thing, right? There was a writer's strike in 2023, so that impacted um, what's going on right now. Like we're feeling the effect of that now.
Yeah. We did I think we most definitely are feeling the effect of that now.
Mhm.
It has not
Old school Dave. Condolences, Josh.
yeah.
Sorry, man. Anyway, so next on the list,
The movie we're about to talk about was so weird.
which one is it?
Players.
Players. Okay. Moving on to Players. Yes, it was weird.
I want to highlight 2 Letterboxd reviews that I think perfectly encapsulate this movie. So, the lead actress, for context, is Gina Rodriguez. That's important going into the first review, the highest review on Letterboxd, which is, yeah, Jane ain't a virgin. That's the highest review on Letterboxd. And as we'll talk about, no, definitely not in this movie. And
Uh-huh.
the other review I want to talk about, Oh, where is it? And now I'm blanking that I don't like. I was about to be able to remember what it said too, but yeah, okay, I remember now. But I want to see if I can find the exact one. Okay, yeah. The main character's name is Mac, and this review says, Mac, you will never be Joe Goldberg. I want the viewers to remember those two reviews going into our discussion about players. So I'll quickly read the synopsis of it before we talk about it. New York sports writer Mac has spent years devising successful hookup plays with her friends, but when she unexpectedly falls for one of her targets, she must learn what it takes to go from simply scoring to playing for keeps. The concept is so stupid.
The concept is rooted in 1990s way of
Yeah.
doing things. And I want
90s?
to know that your dad
70s.
really enjoyed this movie.
That was so funny. We were watching it. We were watching it in the living room. He came and he saw what we were watching, and he had like the biggest smile I've ever seen on his face. He found it to be the funniest movie ever.
He was giggling
It was
so much.
it was actually
He
kind of
was so
wholesome, just
giddy.
how funny he
It
found it to
was.
be.
He was so giddy. It was funny.
But
Oh.
you rated it a 2.5 stars. I rated it 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a movie I hated, you know. I mean, it had its moments. It was kind of, you know, a little funny here and there. But it's like,
It did have
yeah.
funny moments. A lot of it came off as like, I don't even know how to describe that brand of humor. The best I can think of is like millennial. I don't know if some of the people in chat will understand what I mean. And if you are a millennial, don't be offended. It's like
Actually, I would say Gen X. Like,
Gen X.
yeah.
This is the humor of your generation.
Oh, absolutely. And the way of doing things of my generation, like, you know,
Yeah, good thing
the
that's
good old
changed.
playa, you know?
We haven't even really got into the plot. Like so they like every time one of them wants to hook up with someone, they run a play, and it's all framed in like sports terms. And
Because she's a sports writer.
that's an important piece of context. They're all like writers, but she does sports writing. And so that's a little weird to begin with, and I know it's like, oh, woke people these days. It is a little strange to get people to sleep with you based on false premise. It's a little weirder whenever you're trying to make it a long-term relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said while we were watching this, if this movie she was narrating everything that happened like Joe is in the show You, it's the exact same premise.
Yeah, it is.
Like she's setting everything
Actually,
up
I would make a
artificially.
case. I would make a case that Joe is a little less cringe.
But yeah, and then from there it kind of ends up being a basic rom-com. She finds out that the guy is actually in fact a dick, and that her best friend was the one who was always right for her all along. And that's a spoiler, and I'm sorry, but
This is very like common in rom-com, right? The best friend that becomes like my best friend's wedding comes to mind, you know, like, yeah, it's a common.
This is a Netflix movie, by the way, if you were wondering why it's not that good. It's because it's a Netflix movie. But what was I gonna say again? Oh yeah, the one thing I want to say that was good about Players that I liked to a certain extent, like it could have been fleshed out more, was the journalism aspect. Seeing the cuts to the journalism field right now, people getting fired and stuff, and seeing her creative process in writing an article and coming to terms with the fact that she has to like, so the guy that she's like dating is a writer who's done more prestigious stuff than her, and he like rewrites her entire article, and she has to come to terms with the fact that that's not her, and she put all of her heart and soul into her article, and she eventually sends it in, and her boss loved it. I think the journalism part of the story had a lot to say, but everything else was kind of lacking.
Yeah.
It's not a focal part of the story.
Right. Right. But it's a good message anyway. All right. All right. All right. So
Do we want to touch on the best TV series thing real quick?
I was typing in the, yeah, we can. Like, I know what yours is.
Do you?
Yes.
I have quite a few.
Confidently.
I don't know if I know what
But your
mine is.
very favorite? Oh,
Oh,
can I
like,
guess?
so I want to make a quick distinction here, and a lot of people disagree with this. I don't necessarily think best and favorite is the same thing. I can think one
Okay.
show is the highest quality show I've ever seen, but because I relate to another show more, that's like my favorite show ever, even though I think the first one is the best.
Okay. So
Best show?
can I
Yeah. Guess
guess?
guess my best and favorite.
I'm gonna guess by giving you a funny little tidbit.
Mhm.
The movie that we're gonna discuss after that I've seen this weekend, the series, has Margot Martindale in it.
Oh, character actress Margot Martindale.
So I will say, I think your favorite is BoJack Horseman.
BoJack Horseman, my favorite show ever. As for best, I would say Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's such a masterpiece. I just like I would hope not a lot of people can relate to the greater themes in Breaking Bad. And I actually would hope you don't relate that much to the character of BoJack Horseman, but rather the
Also,
more subtle themes of like depression and substance abuse and stuff. It's okay to relate to some of that stuff.
well,
But
I want to say about BoJack, like it's funny because it's a cartoon, right? So I never thought I would get into it because I don't particularly like cartoons, but I'll always remember how you introduced me to this series. It was during
free
one of our
churro,
hikes. Yeah, during one of our hikes, going coming back from the hike, and you played this on the radio. Um, it was the episode Free Churros, and it's about him losing his mom. And man, this hit home for me. I could just relate so much to what he was going
the
through.
entire episode is like the visuals don't matter at all. It's just him giving a monologue, BoJack giving a monologue for 20 minutes at a funeral service about his mom who passed away.
I was bawling.
You were bawling. I
I
remember
was
that.
bawling in the
And
car.
that convinced you
It
to
was
watch the show.
It did, and then I watched it all in one fell swoop and loved it. It's a very, very real it's a very real series, and it talks about very important topics, and addiction and drugs and just being shitty people and trying to be better, and it's fantastic, and it
Speaking of,
does it in a way that a lot of people will be able to absorb it because it's a cartoon.
that's the one thing, like it being animated gives you so much more flexibility with telling narratives in a way that is more interesting and more and can speak to people more. But I want to say on the topic of a show that's very real, I want to shout out one more show, a show that I'm rewatching right now, Malcolm in the Middle. It's
Oh
like a
yeah.
comedy, it's really goofy, but it so encapsulates being a lower middle class family.
It does. I
And I
can
want to
relate
say
to low.
you are Lois. That's you. And people, there's so much useless discourse about is Lois a good mother, and she does stupid stuff, goofy stuff, because it's a sitcom, but it's just that you can tell that this is a mother who cares more about her children's well-being than anything in the world, and her children are going to disagree with her a lot, but it's her making the decisions to look out for her children the best she can. And
Yeah.
like that's a good mother. That's one of the best examples of a good television mother, I think. Even if because it's a sitcom, she does really outlandish stuff sometimes.
My favorite episode of Malcolm in the Middle is the one where she just fucking goes on strike and she's like, I've
Is it her
wanted to
birthday
do
one?
that so many. What? Yeah,
Is
I
it her
think it's
birthday
her
one?
birthday.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that was one that I just passed recently.
Do you
I also
remember
passed
one
my
time?
favorite, the bowling one.
Oh yeah, the bowling is pretty epic too. But do you remember one time on vacation I went on strike?
Yeah. We didn't know what to do either. My favorite quote from that, and I think you said it was your favorite at the time too, from that episode, she's like, she says something. She's like, I need you guys to step up. And Hal is like, no, no, you don't get it. We can't step up. We need you to do everything for us. All we can offer is full um our full support,
Obedience.
our full obedience. Yeah.
Full obedience. Yeah. It's
That
funny.
show's really
It's
good.
a good,
One of my
yeah,
favorite
it is.
sitcoms ever.
Anyways, okay, so I'm going to talk about Margot Martindale in the movie that I just saw. So this really took me by surprise because I was looking for something to watch on Friday with Josh and Trinity, and
Not Ezekiel, no doubt.
Ezekiel's always in his room, in his own little world, in his, Fortnite. Anyways, so I was looking for this movie to watch, and I was looking to watch a horror movie because Trin, and I fell on this thing on Netflix called Orphan First Kill. So I looked on Letterboxd, of course, and it had have decent reviews, and the premise seemed interesting. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna watch it, and there's gonna be spoilers. So we watched this movie, which is actually a prequel. Sorry, whoops, I lost my earbud. Okay, so it's actually a prequel to a 2009 movie called Orphan, which I just watched before jumping on here with you. And I would say, it's rare that I say this, but I would say that the sequel is better than the original movie.
Did you watch Orphan on your own, like the first one?
No, I watched it with Twin.
So you watched First Kill with Josh and Trinity, and then Orphan
And then
with
Orphan
Trinity.
with Twin today. Yeah. But anyways, I was just very I had seen it. I think, well, not seen it, but I have heard of it in the past, but we never got to watching it. And it's just a really cool concept. So this girl who's looking like she's 9 years old gets adopted. I'll start with the prequel, right? In the prequel, she's actually,
The lead actress is Isabel Furman.
yeah.
That she plays Clove in Hunger Games.
Oh yes, she does. But here's what's really cool, Mateo. Okay, and I can't stress this enough. It was so awesome to see, because the actual first movie, which is the sequel, right?
Mm-hmm.
In 2009, Isabel was 10 years old. Reprises the role in 2022 as a 9-year-old looking person at 25 years old.
How?
The stuff that went around making that happen is quite amazing. Julia Stiles plays the mother, and she was in platform shoes this high the whole time to make it look like Isabel is a kid, right? Anyways, it's just fantastic. Just that portion of things is fantastic around it. But so anyways, long story short, this woman who has a form of dwarfism is in a mental institution and escapes the mental institution, ends up she's from Estonia, I think, which incidentally my Lisa is from. Anyways, I'm not saying, but
whoa, cool it within insinuations there.
Time out. So she ends up in the United States, and ends up being adopted by this couple, and it later is revealed that this 9-year-old looking thing is actually 31 years old. She's 31 years old, escaped from a mental institution, totally infatuated with the husband, and ends up killing the whole family. And then she does it again in the first skill, in the sequel, in the one that I watched today. Anyways, it's just really good little actress. Like, I'm saying little because when she started, she was little. She was
That's
like 10
crazy.
years old. And then, totally believable as a 25-year-old looking like a, yeah, it's just, I enjoyed it very much. It was really, really good. Yep.
She
That's all
was
I
in
got to say about
Escape
that.
Room too,
Was she?
I guess.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Interesting. So,
But
anyways, for Orphan and Orphan First Kill, if you have time to kill.
what did you rate them?
Did I rate them? I don't even know if I rated them yet. I might have rated them. I think I rated the First Kill 4, a 4, and the
Damn.
Orphan 3.5. Yeah. Let's
Yep.
put it this way. I enjoyed it more than any of the 2024 movies I've watched.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna add Madam Web to my list now. And
Mhm.
I don't know where I'm gonna put it. So I'm looking here. It's gonna be I have 10 listed right now. It's gonna be in the bottom 3. I don't know if I like it more than Lift or even more than Origin, which is my worst of the year, but it's
Mhm.
gonna be down there. It was not a fun watch. Again, Sony just needs to let it go, guys. You had your run with Marvel. The original Spider-Man trilogy was good. It's done, okay? It's over. Unless Craven is good, which I think there's like a small chance Craven is going to be good because the character's so good, but I don't think it is going to be good.
Um, Anything you're excited about coming up?
I'm so excited for Dune 2, and I haven't even seen the first one. I'm just excited for a movie with this much hype. It's been out like when it came out at I think it was a film festival or there was a premiere. It was at like 4.5 at the time, 4.6, and I was like, okay, these are people who went to a premiere to see it. They're obviously going to like it. But it's released to the public now and the rating hasn't gone down. I think this movie is going to be amazing and I'm so excited for it.
Cool. When is that coming out?
Dune 2?
Oh, it's come out already. Sorry. Yeah.
It came out this weekend,
Okay.
just on
All right.
Friday. And
All
that's
right.
why I said like I'm full swing hype for it now. Now that it's had its public release and it's still
Hi.
like still high. Yeah. I was talking to someone yesterday who saw Beekeeper and she said it was really good.
Yeah.
So maybe we have to see that one.
Maybe we do. Um, about Dune, like so it's a remake, right? Because there was a 19, I want to say 84, but I don't think it was 84. Or maybe 90. Anyways, there was a Dune made back in the day, and this is just like I did not like Dune. I found it long and boring, like the original one, which was an unpopular opinion, total unpopular opinion, because this was like one of the best movies apparently of that year. Um, so I don't know if I'm gonna enjoy it. Like the story's the same, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna like the
Oh,
story.
Dune
Mhm.
1984
84.
has a
Oh, I
2
was
point
right.
it has a 2.8 on Letterboxd, so it's
It
not like
does?
that's not yeah. But
Wow. What
okay,
about
so
Rotten Tomato?
looking on the first page of 2024 movies in Letterboxd, most of the ones I'm excited for coming out this year are like sequels to existing movies. There's the new
Mhm.
Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm excited for that. The Joker one is either going to be really good or really bad. I'm calling it right now.
Mhm. You know what I'm
Um,
excited for?
hmm,
2. Um, Civil War
yeah,
and A Quiet Place Day 1.
that I'm really excited for that. Civil War, I'm not as high on.
Yeah. I'm excited for Civil War.
I think Civil War is going to be another like Leave the World Behind type thing, where
Yeah.
it's more catered to your demographic than mine for sure.
Okay.
What else am I excited for? There's another Venom, but again, that's Sony, and
Shit.
I'm off Sony. Or has it been acquired by the MCU? I don't know. There's a Planet of the Apes. I haven't even really seen that franchise. Beetlejuice.
Oh
2,
yes,
I'm
Beetlejuice
excited
2.
for.
Excited for that too.
As for a show, I'm excited for the Fallout show. I think that's coming out soon.
Mm-hmm.
And one more movie shout out. Inside Out 2 is, I think, of Pixar sequels recently, Inside Out 2 has the highest potential to be good. I don't know where they're going to go with it, but the first one was good. I know damn well it's has more potential to be good than like Toy Story 5, which is supposed to come out. The Toy Story franchise has been like run into the ground.
Hey, if you're talking about shows, I'm gonna say you got to watch The Bear.
How was
You
it?
got to watch The Bear. I finished, and it's pretty amazing, and I can't wait to see the new season, like the next season, because like I've just finished a new season. But
The
I
Bears,
also want to say,
it's Jeremy Allen White, right?
yeah, uh-huh. I also want to say, dude, that I am so psyched that Pedro Pascal won.
He won.
Yes,
What was it again?
it was Best Actor in a
Which award show?
Writers Guild.
Oh, this girl plays Sydney in The Bear. Ayo Edebiri. She's been getting a lot of attention recently because she was in Theater Camp and Bottoms, which were two movies that got. Those are two movies that are very like catered to the letterboxd demographic. So a lot of people who are big on film are giving this actress a lot of attention because she's in a lot of movies that are, and I guess The Bear too, that are big in like online film circles. And I haven't seen any of the stuff she's in. Actually, I did. I saw Theater Camp, which I didn't really like.
He won for Best Actor in a TV series. So
Jeremy Allen White?
Okay, hold on. I'm confused now. I think
What?
yes.
But I thought you said
Pedro Pascal won too, but hold on. I gotta search it up now because I'm confused. I was sending them to you as they were winning.
Divine Joy Randolph won another Best Supporting Actress, right?
Yes. And
she's sweeping everything. At this point, if she doesn't win the Oscar, there's no way she doesn't win the Oscar, right?
Hold on. I gotta find the winners now because now I'm confused and now you're making me wonder and doubt myself. I don't think she won.
Who? Divine Joy Randolph?
Yeah, I don't think she won. Now that I'm trying to remember, why can't I find the winners anywhere? News. The one nomination revealed. Full list. Okay, SAG Awards full list. Okay, so we have okay, cast in a motion picture was Oppenheimer. Performance by a female actor was Lily Gladstone. Performance by a male actor in a leading role was Cillian Murphy. Performance by an ensemble in a drama series was Succession. Performance by a female actor in a drama series was Elizabeth Debicki in The Crown. Performance by a male actor in supporting role was Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer. Performance.
Well, I know why you were confused now because you said it was the Writers Guild and it's the SAG, which is actors.
SAG. Yeah, sorry. Performance by an ensemble in a comedy series was The Bear. Performance by a male actor in a television movie or limited series was Steve Young for Beef. I was so happy.
You've seen most of these now, right?
Performance by a female actor in a supporting role was Divine Joy. Okay, so she did win. Performance by a male actor in a drama series was Pedro Pascal. Performance by a female actor in a comedy series was Ayo Edibri and the Bear. Performance by a female actor in television movie or limited series was Ali Wong for Beef. You got to watch that
Damn.
too, dude. It was so good.
These
Uh,
shows are getting a lot of love.
yeah. Performance by a male actor in a comedy series was Jeremy Allen White for The Bear. Action performance by a stunt ensemble in a motion picture was Mission Impossible. Action performance by a stunt ensemble for a television series was The Last of Us. And that was it. But yeah, so there was a couple of actors I was really happy with. The one that I was surprised by the most was the where she so the performance by a female actor in a drama series, there was Jennifer Aniston for the morning shows. Have you seen the morning show? That's
Nope.
really good too. Elizabeth Debicki in The Crown, Bella Ramsey for The Last of Us, Kerry Russell for The Diplomat, and Sarah Snook for Succession. And I thought for sure Sarah Snook would win. And then it was The Crown. Like, I was really surprised by that one.
I just want to say, for outstanding performance by a female actor in a leading role for a movie, was won by Lily Gladstone, right?
Yeah.
And it's really weird. I think she has been nominated mostly for roles, like for leading roles, even though like you could argue she was in a supporting role. And I'm not complaining because this means that Divine Joy Randolph is sweeping the supporting roles category. But like Lily Gladstone,
there could be a case for, is it really a leading role?
Lily Gladstone is like, I don't have any issues with her winning leading or supporting role. Her performance was really good. It was my favorite part of Killers of the Flower Moon. But next week we have the Oscars to talk about.
Yeah, and you know what? Since it's Sunday today and the Oscars are on Sunday, I was kind of wondering if maybe we do a live show during the Oscars.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe that could be an idea. Anyways, yeah, it could be kind of cool to go live during the Oscars. We'd have to work the technicalities because we need to have the TV and the cameras on us. But
to answer your question, Ronald McDonald, the best movie of all time is Whiplash. So
I would disagree with that. It's hard to pinpoint one best movie of all times.
It is.
I will
Whiplash
say
is my favorite.
I will say
I'm not gonna make it. Sorry.
Horror. I would say The Exorcist. You know that's like, to me, the best horror movie of all times. And then best movie, there's so many. Like, I mean, The Godfather is freaking phenomenal.
I can tell you my favorites on Letterboxd are. You can have like 4 favorite films on your profile. Mine are Whiplash, The Holdovers, Coco, and In the Heights, which are all newer movies. If I were to give like an oldie classic pick, this is not even like super old, but I would go Pulp Fiction probably.
Oh, Pulp Fiction is amazing too. But I mean, you'd have to ask us like, what's your favorite movie in every genre? Like,
best sequel of all time.
It's unfair to like kind of.
Best sequel of all time is Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars. Greatest plot twist of all time too. That's probably my pick for best sci-fi ever as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's such like there have been hundreds of thousands of movies. Yeah. Not to say that we've seen even close to that many, but
no, I was actually looking at the list of 2024 movies on Letterboxd, and it's already like, we've seen 14 and there's already like, I don't know, like 500 that are listed.
Yeah,
like,
but it's like
just, you can't watch them all.
It's impossible to watch them all because every day some random dude,
Old School Dave. That's really good too. Evil Dead 2.
I haven't seen 2. I saw Rise and I saw the original, but I haven't seen Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
Is that the best one in the series?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Hands down.
What does Letterboxd say? Evil Dead is a 3.7, the original. Evil Dead 2 is a 4. So that is like a horror classic thing. And then Evil Dead Rise is a 3.2. And I liked it a little more than a 3. I gave it a 3.5.
Yeah.
It didn't like They almost feel like they're in different universes, though. The original and Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah. You know,
Another movie I'm excited for is Terrifier 3.
Oh, yes.
I keep forgetting that's coming out this year.
I know, me too. I love Terrifier 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could debate that that's a great sequel.
Yeah, not one of the greatest of all time, though. As much as I love it.
No, not of all times, but I'm saying it's a great sequel.
It is. I have it as a 4.5.
We'd have
the average score for it's a 2.8.
Well,
which is so crazy to me.
It's maybe at some point we can have a show on sequels.
Yeah.
Yeah. The hits and the misses of sequels.
Okay. Letterboxd reviews are so funny. The top review for Terrifier 2 is Art the Clown is basically if Mr. Bean had a breakdown.
I can see it.
Yeah. That's why it has 6,000 likes.
Yeah, no kidding. That's funny. All right. Well, I think that's a wrap for the show. Do you have anything else you want to talk about today?
No, I don't. We've been going for about an hour, so.
Yeah, and then next week we'll have the Oscars, and we need to watch. When you're home next week, we need to watch
Zone of Interest.
Zone of Interest, which is the last one we haven't seen for the Oscars, and then you have to kind of pick your winners, and I'll pick my winners, and we can.
Oh yeah.
We can see
That's a good idea.
who has the most accurate next week. All right.
But see you guys next week, probably at the Oscars. I don't know if we're gonna have a show on Thursday. We usually do on Thursday.
Yeah, I think there were more viewers today than on Thursdays, so maybe the Sunday is the way to go. We'll see.
I guess we can talk about the logistics of it off stream after, because I don't know if anyone wants to hear that. But anyways, guys, enjoy the amazing weather we're going to be having tomorrow and on Tuesday. We will see you maybe on Thursday, probably on the day of the Oscars if we can figure that out. Thank you guys for watching. Like on Facebook, YouTube, all that. And we will see you next week.
Bye.
That's ISO. Rack it up, I gotta build up the bank to make me a safe house. Shake it up, she got her hands on her knees and she bringing the cake out. Smoke it up, I got some gas, some packs, I'm up in the greenhouse. Ball it up, I'm with the gang.